Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, where did your time go? The days pass, the years fly by, and before we know it, life has become a memory. But what if I told you there's still time to live what truly matters? That time doesn't have to be your enemy, but your greatest teacher. In this video, I want to tell you about the day I understood the value of time. It wasn't during a big event. There were no fireworks, no celebration. It was in a silence. It was in a small detail. It was in a moment that completely changed the way I see life. If you're over 60, you might be starting to feel like time moves differently now. And that's exactly why this conversation is for you, because now is the time to make peace with time. To reclaim what was left behind, to live with more lightness, and above all, to understand that there's still time to be happy, truly happy. Stay with me until the end of this video, and you'll discover the secret time has been trying to tell you your whole life, but only now with the wisdom you've gained. Are you ready to hear it? When life speeds up, time slips through your fingers. I always believed I had control over time. I woke up early, got a lot done, rushed around, met goals, made lists, checked off tasks. And at the end of the day, I felt that sense of accomplishment, as if that was really living, as if productivity equaled presence. For a long time I thought that was how you made the most of time. But the truth is, I wasn't living. I was just passing through. And time, that silent, relentless companion, was passing right along with me. Without me even noticing, it slipped through the gaps between one task and the next, between one I'll call later and one I'll deal with it tomorrow. And when life began to slow down on its own, not by choice, but from exhaustion, from age, from circumstance, I realized something that hit me like a punch to the gut. I was getting older, and I had lived less than I thought. The time I believed I was using well was actually being eaten up by hurry. A hurry that led me nowhere, except to avoid I couldn't face. I missed important birthdays, failed to look into the eyes of the people I loved, brushed off deep conversations because I was too busy. And before I knew it, my kids weren't children anymore. They were adults with their own lives, and me? I was just a footnote in their schedules. The same way my parents had become a footnote in mine. It's hard to admit, but necessary. Because only when life forces you to stop do you begin to see what was always there. Time was never yours. It was never under your control. Time is a river, and you're just someone trying not to drown. Doesn't wait for you to finish your to-do list. It doesn't pause for the moments that matter. It just passes, and when it does, it takes with it everything you didn't live. Now, looking back, I realized so much of what I thought was urgent was just noise, empty hustle. Things that seemed important but left no mark. And what truly mattered: coffee with friends, lunches with my parents, bedtime stories, long hugs, all of it got postponed, forgotten, replaced by obligations that didn't make me better or happier. Modern life taught us to rush, but it didn't teach us how to live. And now, after 60, after so much coming and going, I finally understand. Living isn't about running. Living is about noticing, about being, about feeling, about knowing time doesn't come back, but it can be reclaimed right now. And if you're listening to me, if you still have time in your hands, even if it feels like too little, don't waste it on what doesn't nourish your soul. Slow down. Look into the eyes of the person beside you. Pick up that phone you keep putting off and say, I love you. Sit in the morning sun for a while. Walk without rushing. Listen without interrupting. Hug with intention. Because real life lives in the details. In time, that old teacher, only reveals its worth when you learn to live with it, not against it. The clock stopped, but the heart kept beating. There was a day, one of those ordinary days that seemed to have no importance at all. It wasn't a holiday, a birthday, or any special date. It was just another day. But it was exactly on that day that everything inside me changed. I woke up slower, sat on the edge of the bed, and didn't rush to do anything. I glanced at the clock, which by chance had stopped, and for the first time in years, I didn't care. It was strange. Because I had always been driven by schedules, by hands ticking, by appointments. But in that moment, the silence of the clock gave me a rare gift: freedom. Time had stopped outside, but inside, my heart kept beating. And for the first time in so long, I could hear what it was saying. It told me to look around more slowly, to feel the cold floor under my feet, the soft light slipping through the curtains, the smell of freshly brewed coffee drifting from the kitchen. It told me to pay attention to that moment, because it wouldn't come back. And then I realized I had spent my life waiting for big events to feel like I was truly living. But life actually lives in the small details we ignore. That day, I sat at the table and drank my coffee slowly. I remembered people who were gone and let myself miss them without hurry. I opened the window and saw a butterfly land on. A flower in the garden, a scene I would have missed any other time because I was too busy. And there, watching that simple movement of nature, I understood something no book had ever taught me. Life is happening, even when you're not paying attention. And time, it doesn't demand effort. It only asks for presence. That day stayed with me because it was when I realized life's beauty isn't in grand milestones, but in the lightness of moments. It's not the new car or the international trip. It's your grandchild's laughter, the effortless chat with a neighbor, the sound of an old radio playing a song that makes you close your eyes, the simple meal that tastes like childhood. Real life is where the heart beats strongest, and that, my friend, has nothing to do with clocks. It was on that day, with the clock hands frozen, that I felt time more alive than ever. Because for the first time, I stopped moving out of obligation and started moving out of feeling. I began choosing to be where it mattered, not where I was expected to be. And that simple, powerful choice changed everything. I discovered that time may stop in objects, but the heart keeps going. It carries all the memories, all the pain, all the loves. It's life's true marker. And if we listen closely, it teaches us where what truly matters lies. So if your clock stops today, or if the day seems too ordinary, embrace it. This might be the day you start living for real. Because sometimes, life just needs silence to be heard. And when we listen with our hearts, time finally makes sense. That the things time won't wait for. As the years pass, we realize time has its own rules. It doesn't ask for permission, doesn't warn us when it's about to speed up, or signal when it's ready to change the course of our story. It just moves on. And before we know it, what was once routine becomes a memory. That's when that strange feeling hits your chest. The one that tells you you've let things slip by that won't come back. Have you ever delayed a call, thinking you'd have time later? Ever said, "I'll visit next week," and that week never came? Yeah, me too. For a long time, I thought time was stretchy, that everything could wait. But I learned the hard way that some things time won't wait for. It won't wait for reconciliation, for courage to appear, for pride to fade. It passes, and sometimes, when we're finally ready, the other person is already gone. The opportunity has slipped away. The window has closed. I remember when my mother started forgetting things. At first, it was small stuff, where she left her glasses, the name of someone she knew. But little by little, time erased the memories I thought were eternal. And me, who always thought, I'll talk to her later, one day I'll record her stories, realized time had taken it all before I could do anything, and it hurt. It hurt because time taught me, right then, that loving isn't enough. You have to show it. And not tomorrow. Today. A lot of people believe time heals everything. But time doesn't heal what you fail to live. It may soothe, may dull some pains, but it also collects. It collects the hugs you didn't give, the words you held back, the visits you never made, the laughter you missed because you were too busy. Time is fair, It gives all of us the same hours in a day. But it's up to us to choose what to do with them. Looking back, I see the most precious moments weren't the ones planned ahead, full of formalities and appearances. They were the unexpected encounters, the simple gestures, the shared silences. And those, my friend, only happen when we're willing to live in the now without postponing. Time doesn't wait, and those who wait too long end up losing. Today, I've learned to do things differently. If I feel like calling someone, I call. If I want to say, "I love you," I say it. If I think about visiting someone, I don't wait for the right time. The right time is now, because now is all we truly have. The future is a promise that may or may not be kept. The past, that's already gone. But the present is here, pulsing before us, asking to be lived with all our heart. And if there's one thing I can tell you, with all the sincerity of someone who's seen many calendars turn into history, it's this: don't postpone what matters anymore. Do it today. Hug today. Forgive today. Live today. Because time is a silent teacher. And by the time it teaches, it's already walking away. Time doesn't heal everything, but it teaches us to live with less rush. So often in life, I've heard people say that time heals everything. That it's just a matter of waiting, that as the days pass, the pain fades, the longing lessens, the wounds scar over. But with time, ironically, it's time itself that teaches us. We realize this idea is only half true. Because time doesn't erase everything. It doesn't take away certain losses. It doesn't make us forget what was deep, nor does it remove what has marked our soul. What time actually does is teach us to carry these pains more lightly. It doesn't heal in the sense of erasing, it heals by transforming. And this transformation doesn't happen overnight. It's subtle. It's like when you realize you can smile even while missing someone. That you can move forward even with an absence still aching inside. Time teaches us that fighting the past is pointless. Day after day, it shows us that resisting what's gone only hurts more. That life doesn't pause for us to recover. It moves on, even with a patched-up heart. And so, we learn to live this way with open scars and eyes still capable of feeling deeply. I've lost people who were part of my foundation. I've said goodbye when I wasn't ready. I've watched plans crumble before me. And for the longest time, I believed I had to be strong, to overcome, to move forward as if nothing had happened. But time showed me that being strong isn't pretending it doesn't hurt. Being strong is continuing even when it does. It's accepting that not everything has an explanation, that some questions will remain unanswered, and that it's okay. It's okay to live with a little absence, with a little pain. The most beautiful part is that, with time, we start caring less about what's outside and more about what's within. Others' opinions weigh less. Rush becomes the enemy of peace. And we begin to see that living well isn't about doing more. It's about feeling more. It's not about filling the day with tasks, but giving meaning to what we do. I, who spent my whole life running, now prefer to walk slowly. I'd rather have a long coffee than a rushed lunch, a deep conversation over many empty ones. I'd rather be fully present for a few minutes than distracted all day. The rush that was once a habit has become a distraction. And life, the one that was always right in front of me, now feels clearer. I've learned to notice the details. The smell of rain, the shifting hues of the sky, the spontaneous laughter of someone you love, the quiet companionship of those who know how to just be with you, without needing to speak. All of this holds a value that youth, in its eagerness to experience everything, often misses. Time, my friend, may not heal everything, but it teaches. And its greatest lesson is this: live with less haste, feel more, hug more, breathe deeply, savor the pause, because depth lives in slowness. It's in the calm rhythm that the soul finds peace. And maybe, just maybe, that's the closest we get to true healing. not the absence of pain, but the presence of peace. When silence is worth more than any conversation. With time, we learn that not everything needs to be said. When I was younger, I felt a constant need to explain, to argue, to be right. I thought love required grand speeches, that resolving conflict meant talking endlessly. But time, with its patient silence, showed me that some things can only be taught by quiet. That in certain moments, silence isn't absence, it's whole presence. It's maturity. It's respect. I remember an afternoon when my father and I sat in the backyard, each with a cup of coffee. We stayed there for nearly an hour, watching the sky change colors, listening to birds, feeling the slow breeze. Not a single word passed between us, yet by the end, I felt we'd said everything. Without speaking, I knew he understood me, and I understood him. Sometimes life speaks through a glance, a gesture, through simply being there. And only those who've learned to listen to silence can understand this language. In many relationships, too many words become noise. We speak impulsively, reply out of pride, lash out from fear of vulnerability. And in that avalanche of sound, we lose what truly matters: listening. Real listening, the kind that doesn't interrupt, doesn't judge, isn't just waiting for its turn to speak. That's rare. And that's why silence, when truly shared, is worth more than any misplaced conversation. Because silence that embraces is stronger than words that correct. How often has time shown me it's better to stay quiet than to argue? How often have I realized a well-timed hug heals more than any speech? When you've lived long enough, you learn that not every question needs an answer. Not every mistake needs pointing out. Sometimes, the best thing you can do is be present in silence, offering peace instead of explanations. This applies to ourselves too. Because inner silence, the kind that comes only when we allow ourselves to pause, is one of maturity's greatest gifts. When you sit alone, no TV, no phone in hand, and listen to what's inside, that's where wisdom lives. That's the truth you've spent your life searching for outside. In silence, the heart speaks. In silence, the soul reveals itself, and it's in that quiet space that we reconnect with what truly matters. Today, I no longer rush to explain myself. If someone truly knows me, they'll understand my silence. If they don't, maybe it's not the right time. And that's okay. Time takes care of these things. I'd rather offer presence than empty words. I'd rather share silence filled with love than 1,000 hollow justifications. Because when the heart is at peace, the mouth can rest. And that's one of life's greatest lessons. If you, on the other side of these words, feel you've been talking too much and listening too little, try it. Turn off the noise, inside and out. Look into the eyes of someone you love. Feel the moment. And you'll see, there's a profound beauty in silence. One that reveals itself only to those who live attentively. Because sometimes, what others need most is simply your presence, silent, whole, true. The marks of time are also gifts. For the longest time, I avoided mirrors. Every new line on my face was a reminder that the years were passing. Every gray hair felt like a silent countdown. Society teaches us to hide the signs of time, as if aging were something to disguise, as if it were a defeat. But one day, in one of those moments when the soul speaks louder than pride, I looked deep into my own reflection. Really looked, without hurry, without judgment. And that's when everything changed. Because what I saw wasn't just Mark's eye. Saw stories. Every wrinkle was a memory. Every groove on my face, a road traveled. Every fold, proof that I had lived. Time hasn't been cruel to me. It's been fair. It gave me enough time to love, to make mistakes, to forgive, to start over. It let me be many versions of myself. The dream-filled young man. The adult who faced responsibilities. The father who stretched himself thin. The friend who messed up and apologized. The man who cried in secret. and who also learned to smile. For no reason, all those versions left marks. Not just on my face, but on my soul. And now I understand these marks aren't something to hide. They're silent medals. Proof that I was here. In youth, we worry about appearance. But with time, we start caring about essence. Because real beauty isn't in taut skin, hair without grays, or a body untouched by age. It's in the light of your eyes, the calm in your words, the generosity of your gestures. It's in the ability to listen, to understand, to welcome without rush, and that, my friend, no youth possesses. That's a gift only time can give. It's funny how only after living long do we grasp the true value of aging. It's like life gives us new lenses. We start seeing beyond the surface. We begin to cherish what's simple, what's real. A sincere good morning, a meal made with care, a comfortable silence beside someone you love. Small joys that in youth we barely noticed because we were too busy chasing what we thought mattered. Today, I don't want to hide my marks. I want to honor them. I want to wear them with pride. Because they tell my story. They say I survived, that I faced storms and still stand, that I lost people I loved and kept loving anyway, that I took hard falls but never stayed down. Every line, every crease, every scar is a page written with courage. And if you, on the other side, are still fighting time, trying to fit a mold that no longer suits you, breathe. Look at yourself with kindness. See the beauty in someone who's lived so much. Because time may take some things, the firmness of skin, the speed of youth, but it gives you something far greater in return. Wisdom, peace, perspective, and no cream, no surgery, no filter can give you that. To accept time's marks is to embrace who you've become. It's to say, yes, I've lived. And it was beautiful. And it still is. Because as long as there's life, there's still beauty. Still time to love, to laugh, to learn. And every mark on your face is proof of that. A silent gift, wrapped in experience. The day I understood the value of time, now that you've heard all this, I'll ask you just one thing. Breathe. Close your eyes for a moment. And think of the time you still have. Think of the conversations you can still have, the hugs you can still give, the reconciliations that can still happen. Think of the simple days you can turn into memories just by being fully present, because time, it doesn't come back. But you're still here. And that's what matters. If this video touched your heart, if it reminded you of something you'd tucked away, don't keep it to yourself. Share it. Someone out there might need to hear exactly this today. And if you want to keep walking this road of discovery, wisdom, and meaningful life with me, subscribe to the channel. Every week, a new conversation awaits, a fresh perspective, another chance to live with more truth, more lightness, more love. Because in the end, what we take from life is what we lived with our whole heart. And if you still have time, use it wisely. Use it to love, to forgive, to be present, to be. And remember, it's never too late to start over or to be truly happy. See you in the next video. Until then, treasure your time. It's your most precious gift.